Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Have You Ever Played podcast, the only podcast on the internet powered by Microsoft Edge. Today is going to be a special episode because I am here with a guest, and I being Matt, aka Matt Fondude. I am with a special guest, some might say a rival, Polkabird, aka Ryan. Hello, Polkabird.
How's it going?
It is going pretty okay. You are known on my Twitter as a villain, and I would like to get right off the bat and just point to the allegations levied against you.
Yeah. Look, I am not here to apologize. I'm
Mhm.
not here to reconcile.
Yes.
I'm I'm not ashamed for what I've done. And in case you are here to try to guilt me into something like that, I'm I'm not having it. All right. I have my lawyer currently on the line. He's advising me based on I don't have to answer any of these questions if I don't want to. Is the gist of it.
Okay.
So just be prepared that, and I will leave if this gets a little too out of hand.
All right. Well, I might be asking you some hard hitting questions
Just
later on in this.
keep
Keep
it
it
clean. All
keep it
right,
clean.
because
Well,
I'm not. I listen. There's a saying out here in the big rectangle, and it's we don't respond to aggression with compliance. We respond to aggression with righteous indignation.
okay. Now that we've confused the three viewers who are listening, we should probably explain what we're doing today. So, my co-host of usual, James, is currently sick, so he's taking a hiatus. So I figured I'd bring in a guest today for this Sidequest episode, in which we are going to be talking about various internet gaming questions of how do you know you're a gamer and other such
Mm,
questions, because I was actually looking through these websites the other day to find some questions, just for podcasting in general. But there are some doozies out there, and
some real.
Ryan was just looking at some.
I looked myself. There's some real real high quality bangers, as they might say.
As the kids say, yes. Ryan, I would just like to ask you a question, and this is related to your screen name of Polkabird. I think we probably should have introduced this concept at the beginning because I heard some bird squawkage in the background. Do you
Uh,
wanna explain that?
I have a couple birds. One of which is usually attached to me at almost all times. Um, so I do have my conure Peaks. He just hangs out around with me, and he would literally die if he was not attached to my finger at almost all times. So he's very attention hungry, and I get distracted a little bit because he's very needy.
Hmm.
Um, so he's here with me now. If you hear him flying around or kind of grumbling.
Yeah. Now, is that the bird you refer to as the car alarm?
Yeah, he's the one. He likes to yell.
Yeah, like
The other
almost like.
two are grumpy old men and don't like to hang out with me that much. They were rescues. One of them's 30 years old. He's had enough.
He's at the end of his rope. Yeah.
Yeah.
So bird, what is the average lifespan of a bird? Like
Mm, a little guy like this, probably 20 to 30.
20 to
Uh,
30?
Big guys like upstairs. They're yellow naped Amazon and severe macaw, and they'll live to be probably 80,
Hmm.
if maybe longer. One of them might outlive me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you can have generational bird wealth.
He's my family heirloom.
Yeah, you pass them on, and then is it one of those things? Well, that those birds don't like talk like a parrot or something.
Oh yeah,
Oh, they do.
yeah.
They
Oh,
they can
he's yeah.
repeat things.
He had this. So the lady who had him before she was like, he's not just peeping. I mean, he's straight up talking. Like,
Hmm.
so I'm mostly referring to the Amazon Amigo upstairs. He just turned 5 or 6. I don't know for sure. Um, he used to live with this old lady, and when she died, her daughter didn't know what to do with him, so she just kind of found someone to take him. So that's being me. Um, he'll. It sounds like there's an old lady living in my house.
Oh,
Like
that's horrifying.
yeah, he sounds exactly like her, and he'll the way he sings Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. He counts to 5. He'll say fully fledged sentences. What? He'll he laughs like an old lady sometimes at night.
Mhm.
It's weird.
Now, if I was the owner and proprietor of a bird such as that, I would train it to say things like the gold is hidden in at location 3.12, like longitude and latitude, and I would say like really mysterious things like put the knife down and just like very unnerve the next owner.
So I actually talked to a bird sanctuary when I was out. I was visiting Pittsburgh for a while, and I met this bird sanctuary owner guy there, and we were talking about birds. And he was telling me about a bird that came through there once, and that's why they. So the bird's name was Pandora,
Mhm.
and that that's it was kind of a literal Pandora's box, and that's why they now call birds that are like crazy like that, like Pandora's boxes, because what'll happen is it'll be real like nervous and won't be talking, and then you'll take it home and it'll say some shit like, "That hurt, didn't it? Yeah, I bet you
Oh,
like that." It's like,
I
"Oh,
don't
what?
know. I
What?"
don't
It's
like
like
that.
you're bad. You're a bad boy, and just like biting and
Oh, that's
shit, and just like
horrible.
yeah, like oh, that's yeah,
Oh man. Well, welcome to Bird Talk Hotline.
yeah,
It. So I think I know the origins of your screen name because I think I was there for the precipice of the origin. I don't. That's not the right word, but I think I was there for the beginning of the origin.
yeah,
Does it have to relate to that Breath of the Wild character?
yeah,
Okay. You want to
yeah.
explain that a little bit?
I play the accordion, and I enjoyed Breath of the Wild to a degree that I said I wanted to cosplay the bird, and I go to cons with my accordion as that bird, and
Hmm.
I play the accordion, and it's great.
Yeah. Polka and Bird both are covered, and yeah. So basically, that was an interesting thing. You had a late game name change like I did with the Matt Dude rebrand,
I
and
did,
that's kind of a weird thing to think about because I think a lot of people will pick a screen name at age like 2, whenever the hell they're making up a screen name, and then stick with it forever and
yeah.
never change it.
It's just this was my RuneScape name from when I was 6 years old,
Yeah, and it's
and
like Gregory 222, like that's
yeah.
me
Oh my
forever.
god, it's so being involved in fighting games, you see a lot of people who are just way too committed to that. Uh, my favorite joke example is this guy. I'll send you a picture. It's so funny. This guy named Big Dog 022, but it's
Okay.
spelled it's his exact like the exact way that he like I don't know spelled it or whatever on whatever probably Xbox or something. The way that he had to spell it to get the name, since everyone has every name on Xbox, right? It was like underscore big underscore DAWGGG underscore 002 underscore, and he got a logo commissioned with all the
Oh my
underscores.
god.
It's so funny.
I never had a gamer tag specifically because that's more of an Xbox thing, and I feel like the underscores and all that is more at home from the gamer tag
Or like
era, I
the
guess.
X's and like the that kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
the little fill-ins.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that from MMOs a little bit because you would make like alternate characters that would need to be like XXX cool guy 69 and like
Yeah.
because you needed that extra space. But it is so funny when you meet people, and they're all right. Let's get into the nitty gritty on that, like the dichotomy of what your name is. Where some people are like, "All right, we're gonna take my first name. It's just gonna be I'm gonna be Greg 25762, and that's my name, and that's gonna be on everything." And then if they become successful, like as a streamer or a YouTuber, some of them keep that name.
Hmm.
And it's like, how do you brand that? But they have millions of subscribers, so I guess they're doing something right.
I
You
was
know.
thinking about that recently, especially with like old YouTube channels. Like, yeah, there's a guy like you make your YouTube channel in 2006. Like, what's an example? Like, uh,
Well,
I'm
Penguin
blanking. I had
Zero, like
Yeah,
Critical,
exactly. Yeah, something like
he has like
that.
15 names, and then now he's just Charlie.
And it's just like, yeah, everyone, that's just you can't just change his name. I mean, I guess he could at this point, but like something like Nigahiga, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that guy was always around just doing stuff in like 2007 or whatever.
Well, he was
And I
Ryan Higa, right?
yeah,
So that's just again, that's an example of using your own name.
exactly. But I feel like that's just the where it all kind of comes from. And that's like the old internet style of just what's a funny little thing on my name, or just either that or what is my just name.
Well, yeah,
I
I Justine, Fred, yeah, Fred.
Fred, yeah.
I mean, that wasn't his name, but Fred, yeah, just like, or it's just like little baby cakes 225 underscore 25 2007, just like these like
Like
crazy names.
Joe loves trucks 4484,
Yeah,
that kind of
I
thing.
I gotta say, and I asked you earlier, can I call you Ryan, like
Yeah.
your actual human name? Because sometimes people like to be referred to as their online names, and my online name has always been either containing my name or close to my name, that people just call me my name anyway.
I
But
understand why some people do that. I just
mhm,
personally think it's kind of I think there's a point where it's like if you're really like I mean for a lot of valid ulterior reasons, some people are very uncomfortable with their name and want
mhm.
to be addressed as like their screen name, that kind of thing. I think it only kind of gets bizarre when someone that somebody is like that's not a thing. They just demand to be called their like tag or whatever. You're gonna call me Bassmaster 440.
Oh
I will not
yeah,
be referred to as Lee. I'm gonna be Bassmaster to you forever.
yeah.
Like
Congratulations, Doom Dumper 69, on your marriage engagement.
yeah,
It's really yeah. It's there is a level of like weird. Like I think when you refer to someone that you don't know very well, you can say their username. Uh,
yeah,
but when it becomes like you're having a conversation with them, I would like to use your name. Becomes very confusing when someone's username is a real name, but that's not their name, and
yeah,
other people call them
all
their
the
real name,
time.
which I've had happen before, where it's been like someone will call them, they have like a name, right? That is like a person's name, and then they'll be referred to as that, and they're like, actually, no, my name is not that. So it's just the most confusing thing in the world.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a classic. I was gonna say a bit earlier. Did I ever tell you that I started playing games like online through Xbox, right? So I was in the 360. I was in the thick of it. I was in the trenches.
Hmm.
When I was 11 years old, I had to pick a gamer tag. And so Xbox does this thing that a lot of people are familiar with, right? Where you get your like free like default Xbox name, and it's usually like adjective, noun, numbers. And I think mine was something like it was like I don't even know. It was like Sporty Frog 448 or something, Um, and some people just keep that, and they're just forever Sporty Frog 448, and it's like, oh yeah, Xbox just gave me that, but they let you change it once for free. And I had my fake name for like a year or two, and when I finally got Halo, and I was like 13 or 14, I wanted a name just like I saw everyone else had. I wanted like a real name that I picked, and my moniker, my whole internet thing prior to Polkabird, it was like Neon was what I like used as a lot of that. And that was literally just because I saw the energy sword and I'm like, I think that looks so cool. And I'm like, uh, and I was like, okay. I remember my thought process sitting on my couch in my basement when I was like 13, and I'm like, Neon, Elite because Covenant, and I tried that combination, and then I tried an underscore in between it, and they were all taken. And I remember sending in a hate message to the person who had that name.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
just nothing bad, just like you're the reason I gotta have this name. And what ended up becoming my name was like XXNE0N3LITE underscore XX. Like
That's like a serial number. That's like
it,
not a
it
name.
really is. Yeah, that's my serial number. Um, oh man, not to completely digress. you want to talk about a serial number name? When I set up my Spotify, uh, I okay. I guess I'm gonna dox my Spotify name, but I don't care because all you're gonna see is what I'm listening to because there's no info on it. Uh, when I set up my Spotify, I set it up through Facebook, and then I deleted my Facebook a while ago. Uh, so when you do that, Spotify assigns you a random string of numbers and letters, and you can't change it, and that's your username from now on. It is 22XQJ or G M B L D C C G Y N E R Y F F O K S D I 24.
What is Spotify doing? I
Why
mean,
no?
okay.
Like,
Just saying, like, okay, so this is a little bit of podcast insider knowledge, but I use Anchor, which is, I believe, purchased by Spotify as my RSS feed.
mhm.
And I use Spotify all the time and love Spotify as like a platform, at least for my personal listening. I don't know about their, creator stuff, but as personal listening tool, I use Spotify a lot. And one time on Spotify, I was checking my bill, and I was like, why is my bill like suddenly more expensive this month? And I looked in my account settings, and I had noticed that my normal account was set to a family share account, and which is more expensive per month. You can add like a certain amount of people on one account. And two random people added their like personal emails to my account and were leeching off my account for like a couple months. I don't know. I guess maybe I left it logged in a public place, and people just added their emails and like changed my account, which is crazy because they changed the whole account settings to a different type of account. But Spotify refunded me the money and fixed it. But like, imagine being so bold as to leave your personal email on someone's account that like you get into someone's account and you're leeching off of them, and you're like, yeah, this is a good idea. We'll just It's like when people commit a crime and then like spray paint their Instagram handle,
Yeah, like this is who did it.
which
Yeah.
happened to me once when I was going to school. There was a building in which was like got vandalized and was spray painted on the walls. Like the Dookie Boys did this on Instagram. Follow us. Like those people were promptly expelled because it's like why would you vandalize something with your own like name? It makes no sense. It's so funny.
Oh my god. It's
Oh
it's the
man.
it's the clout thing, but I actually kind of all right. This is not a rare occurrence. This Spotify hacking story.
Hmm.
Almost everyone I know who uses Spotify has had a run in with this before, and I know about what happens on the other side of it because I found the deep dark side of the internet that they actually do this. So what it is it's people who Spotify must have some kind of terrible vulnerability that they know about and will never fix or can't fix. Because random ass Spotify accounts get hacked all the time for no reason. And like it's people like anywhere on earth. I don't even know where this usually happens, but they'll sell it like on like different things. It's like, hey, here's a Spotify account you can use that someone had. Pay me like $5 and here's access to it until they find out. Um, there's the way they did it with yours is actually pretty smart though, because it took you a couple months to find out. Usually when it happens, they're banking on it being an account you don't use because you'll be listening to something and suddenly the track will change and it'll be like, oh, I didn't cue this up. This is
Oh
oh, uh, I didn't. I don't listen to like Pakistani rap, but
yeah, I don't listen to Rednecks, Cotton Eye Joe on repeat, 24-hour club mix.
you got to be feeling in the right mood for that. And
Oh
that
yeah.
at 2 p.m. on a work day, I'm not listening to that. Um,
Um
yeah,
yeah, no.
they change that shit all the time. It's wild.
One thing I've noticed, which has happened before, and they may have fixed this, is I've been logged into my account and then I'm suddenly in someone else's account.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know how much access I have,
it's
but I have seen where I'm logged in and it's like you're in Kelsey's account. I'm like, what? Like, how am I in someone else's account for a second? I don't know what that was. That was a
did
while
that
ago.
was that while you were at school by chance?
Uh I don't know. I think it was. I think it was like on it. It might have been on a TV. Like when
Oh,
you're
okay.
connected to a TV. Like
Yeah, that
I don't
casting
think it
stuff gets
was.
weird.
Yeah, it was a weird thing where I was suddenly in someone's account. I know what you're trying to say, where it's like, oh, someone could have been listening along. By the way, uh, if as someone who works in a place where there's public Wi-Fi that you connect to, all day long, it's like, do you want to listen to Ricardo's device? Because it's the only reason, like, to do a listen along on Spotify, you need to be on the same Wi-Fi. So all day long, it's like, do you want to listen? And I'm so terrified that I'm going to cast my audio to like
Mhm.
someone's device or like a giant like loudspeaker, and I'm just listening to some like nonsense or
It's
whatever. I don't
it
know why I'm paranoid to hear other people listening to music I'm listening to, but
it's you know what it is? It's the it's this is the 2022 version of that fear that I think a lot of us had when like listening to like wired headphones on the iPod on the bus or something in middle school, where it's like, oh God, what if my headphones get disconnected and it just starts playing out loud?
yeah,
It's
which
like I
has
don't want
happened to
someone
me.
to know that I'm listening to I don't even know Breaking
Uh,
Benjamin or something like.
uh, Yeah, no, I think music insecurity hits everyone in a way where have you ever you obviously you've had the question, so what music do you like? And it's like,
hmm
well, chief, I listen to every week I listen to something different. I'll be listening to just like completely different genres of music between the hour or two. And it's hard to I think showing someone your Spotify has helped, where I just use show them like, here's my phone, look at my playlist, you'll get an idea.
hmm
um but yeah, I always feel very self-conscious. I don't know what I don't know why.
I it's funny that you kind of mentioned that. Sorry, I uh I actually have kind of answered that question for myself after a very long term search as to what music do I listen to, and I think I can finally say with confidence that I have like two genres that I'm finally like I'm settled down on the search. I'm good. I'll live here. I'm fine.
What are the two genres?
Uh, lounge vapor and doom metal.
Doom, yeah, all right, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a vibe. I don't know, I feel like I go so all over the place all the time that I don't really have anything specific. I can listen to anything as long as it's like, I don't know, it depends on the mood. I'm a
Yeah,
very mood listener kind of person.
I get that for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, this is a video game podcast. Let's ask some hard-hitting video game questions according to
Let's.
levelskip.com, at least on my end. And Ryan has some questions for me as well.
I've got redbull.com/za-n.
All right, let's start it off. I'm going to start off with this question cuz this is actually a valid question.
Okay.
What's your favorite video game of all time, or just list some games you like, because no one has one favorite video game.
Anyone who knows me would think that my favorite video game is Tekken, and it's like that is. I play that game a lot. I play that game way too much. I'm competitive in everything, but the thing that people don't know about people who play Tekken is that people who play it to that degree hate it. Oh, I
Mhm.
hate Tekken. I
That
hate it
makes
so
sense.
much. It's a hobby. It's not like a video game, and it is fun still. But it's like I like learning Tekken. I don't like playing Tekken. Uh, my favorite video game of all time. That's a hard one. I'd say Nuclear Throne has a really special place in my heart. Uh, I really loved Breath of the Wild. That's a pretty basic answer, but I'm on board with it. I think that might end up that might be my half answer to that.
So you must be very excited for Breath of the Wild 2.
No,
Did Oh, you're not at all.
no, not at all.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's an interesting take. Have you seen
I
gameplay of it?
yeah. I the moment I heard that was coming out, I said, "Wow, we don't need another one of those. The first
Okay,
one was
but
really good. We don't need another one."
what if it's a Majora's Mask situation where it's better than the first one because it's like they put weird stuff in it?
Mm,
I'm a
I
Majora's Mask fan over an Ocarina of Time.
I think the odds are against that being true. I don't know. The moment I heard about the sequel, And ever since then, even seeing gameplay, I'm like, just leave it alone. Just leave good enough alone. Like, it's just a money thing. I don't. The first one I liked a lot. It was good, and I don't
Well,
know.
there's no world where it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be
No,
like
but
decent or like at best. The
I could be
worst it can
wrong.
be is
I'll
decent.
admit to being wrong if it's good. I don't know. I just felt like it was, let's just leave good enough alone.
Yeah, you have that opinion a lot on games. I think if a game is popular and people too many people tell you about it, you're gonna sour on it, which is fair
Yeah,
because there is a thing about fan bases for games like an Undertale, which they're very, very vocal about how they want you to play these games and that you should play them. And as someone who has been streaming Undertale, there has been some very vocal chat members who tell me exactly where to go and where to stand on the screen to make sure I'm having fun.
Hmm.
And I believe Jojo is also something in which,
that's that's a big one.
yeah, which I actually was able to introduce to you in an organic way that didn't turn you off to the series,
I
which is
didn't know about it.
surprising.
I didn't even know about it prior.
Yeah.
So
That JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, by the way, for people who are confused, is an anime in which, and it's a manga, but it's an anime in which is now a meme to suggest it to people, basically, because it's one of those things like, yo, bro, have you seen this show? And it's a good show, and it's entertaining. It's just hard to recommend to people because everyone will tell you to watch it. And
yeah.
I've met several people now who are like overzealous fans of something have turned me off to I never want to check out this thing because people yell at me to look at it. So there's
Oh
definitely
man.
something there.
There's a path. There's a in my mind. There's like a conversation tree that we could go down now. And if I take the left path, the one that I'm considering right now, I won't shut the hell up. So I need to just explain what that's about. I have in the past year, I finally found out what Star Trek is about.
Oh wow.
I know the hype now. I know about it. I'm one of those people now.
Yeah, you're just telling
We
people like,
can't
"Hey,
talk about that though.
have you seen this new show Star Trek?"
We can't talk about this though.
Yeah.
This anyway.
I'll briefly mention that I've seen some of the original series and I wanted to watch all of it, then watch the Next Generation. It's solid,
Just watch the
very
next
good show.
generation.
I should just watch the Next Generation.
Just watch the
Very,
next generation starting at season 2.
yeah. Oh,
But
okay.
that's the problem.
That's
I'm
a
sorry.
JoJo Wait, that's a JoJo
It is a
mindset.
JoJo moment. It is, but it's just you got to trust me knowing the JoJo situation that season 1 is just if you watch all the rest of TNG and want to go back, go for it. But it had like a different director or something and like there was a bunch of problems with production and like everything was just wrong and it's the worst thing ever. It's
I
so
will
bad.
I will see it through. If I go to watch it, I will keep
Everyone
that in
says
mind,
that
but
and then
I will get through it.
mm, I I know multiple people who've said, "Yeah, I'm interested in it. I want to watch. I'll start at season 1." And I'm like, "It's really bad. You're going to want to just skip it." And they're like, "Oh, you know what? I'll see it through." And they get to like 13 episodes. They're like, "What the hell am I doing? This is
Okay,
ridiculous." Like
you don't
they
understand.
just give up.
I'm the kind of guy who's like, I want to get into Final Fantasy. I want to get into Dragon Quest. Time to boot up the NES and play Dragon Warrior. And I
Mhm.
did that. I going back. I'm playing Final Fantasy 1. I beat that recently. I want to start from the beginning
Okay.
and I want to get to the thing. I will say I fall off immediately almost all the time, but I'm out here being a warrior of like these games that are or these media that you need to watch. Same thing with comics. When I tried to read that, I tried to start with I tried to read Spider-Man, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, I guess I'll read the first comic from like 1963 or whatever, and it's just like it's so strange because it's just one comic is just the entire origin story of Spider-Man, basically, where it's just like Peter Parker, this guy, and everything is like old timey in a way, where
They
it's
always I love just all the dumb stuff that they say that's just like
yeah, like
the old timey
Gadzooks.
yeah, like the things that are literally just they would be a joke. It's great.
Yeah, but the pacing is like there is no story. It's just
Mhm.
like a villain of the week. Like it literally is like the first issue is like Peter Parker is bit by a spider. Now he's Spider Man like already, and now the next issue is like he's fighting like the Doppelman who like doppels and he's like flying around. And it's like what is this? What am I doing here?
They couldn't waste any time. All right, they
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 really couldn't.
knew they knew that they had like this next issue was coming out in a week, and they're like, we got to be ready for this. Look,
Yes.
he's a guy. He got bit by a spider. I don't know. He just does stuff. Here's what we were actually gonna tell you about. Like,
Stanley cracking that whip on like Steve Ditko, or just like cracking the whip over and over. It's like make more content. Yeah. So I started reading Ultimate Spider-Man,
okay,
which is a run later on. It is the like 2000s Smash Mouth styled. Like I would say, it reminds me of the 2000s in which Smash Mouth exists, and you have the eye dog, and you have like I don't know. It's hard to describe like the early 2000s like era like design of characters.
hmm
And I was enjoying that because it's a self-contained kind of story.
yeah, those are always
But
fun.
that's comics. Let's get back to video games. I guess my favorite video game. I was thinking about it. I'm gonna just say this is a weird one because I have no one specific favorite game, but game I go back to probably the most of all would be Rayman One on PS1 because it's the first game I bought for myself basically, and also it is just like a really nice looking game with really good music, although it's unfinished. It is like weirdly really hard. And that's a game we'll cover on this podcast one day.
Yeah, I remember your speedrunning adventures in that game.
Oh
That was
yeah.
my first exposure to it, honestly.
Yeah, I tried to learn the speed run for the game, which I fell off. I learned like half of it and fell off because I realized that any tutorial I follow is already outdated as soon as it releases. And I'm willing to play that game casually with a little bit of speed tech, which I do for a lot of games now. If you see my Mario 64 playthrough, I watched a speed run of the game and I've tried to implement tech just from watching it, and it's like it's not working a lot of the time, but sometimes it does work. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're only on question one. Why don't you continue yours? We'll go through yours, and
No, I
then.
mean there's like 50 questions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you want to give me one of your hot questions? We'll go back and
So
forth.
mine are not questions, rather they are hypothetical concepts.
Okay.
Redbull.com/Zaen asks, they simply say 15 signs that you're a gamer.
Okay. What are the signs?
Um, Also, this was posted almost immediately after COVID started. That's really funny for some reason.
They're just like, I gotta do something. I gotta vent my. I
I
gotta.
don't.
I'm so creative.
We got nothing going on.
I got nothing going on. All right.
Sign one. This is the Redbull.com here is being the gamer's Jeff Foxworthy right
Okay.
now.
Yeah. Here's your
You know
sign.
you're a gamer if you've endured
Is
one too many arguments about gaming platforms.
gaming platform. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
The console wars where I actually cared a little bit when I was younger. Although I was always a Sony. Like I always had like a PlayStation and the Nintendo console. Well, except for GameCube, I missed that until I got the Wii. But uh, yeah.
Their explanation of this is really funny. Just PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. We're all just gamers at the end of the day.
Yeah, just gamers doing gamer things. Just
Oh my
boys
god.
being boys.
And then they talk about like, oh yeah, there's the Sony fanboys and the PC Master Race crowd. And the last sentence is, you're just never going to get a straight answer on this one. Play whatever you want. No one cares.
None of this matters. No one cares.
And then they captioned the stock photo of the PlayStation with, play what you want, guys.
It's so funny that like
This
it
is
really
so
doesn't
low
matter
effort. It's
anymore.
hilarious.
It mattered when there was console exclusives, but nowadays everything comes out on PC and everything.
Yeah, we've
Like,
kind of like in the past year or two started to see the death of the like, exclusivity, I
which I'm
guess.
glad. It's
Yeah,
so weird to see Sony games released on Steam, where it's like God
it
of War's
really
on
is.
there now, Horizon, that Sackboy Adventure game is coming out, which I will buy and try. Which is like that's a crazy one to me. Like, I feel like that is such a like console exclusive that it feels weird. It feels wrong to play it honestly on like your PC. But I'm glad that we're moving into like a world of you can play anything on everything.
Stop. Come here. My
All
bird is
right.
making plate scraping noises right now because that's the noise that a spoon makes on a ceramic bowl. He's just letting me know.
Okay. Well, we'll take a quick break here and we'll resume.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. So Ryan is drinking a fresh LaCroix right now. A
A
LaCroix.
coconut LaCroix. Can't really see it,
I
but
don't like LaCroix. I like sparkling water. I
ooh.
like every other brand basically. LaCroix, I can't get into. I just can't do it. It's my
I
least favorite.
I'm so sorry. Um, yeah, I'm a purist as far as that goes. I'll drink Polar. I do like Polar too. I think Polar's a little too carbonated.
Hmm.
But the only reason they keep me coming back is because they have some pretty good exclusive flavors. They have this flavor from the New England collection this year
Oh yes,
called
okay.
Pink Apple Lemon, and it is incredible. It's probably my
That
favorite
sounds good.
seltzer right now.
I am a fan of bubbly. Bubbly is
Hmm.
okay. Bubbly, it feels like it doesn't feel luxury. It feels like the working man seltzer in a
I
way. It
agree.
feels
Yeah,
it feels like the TGI Fridays of seltzer, but it's a guilty pleasure kind of seltzer. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want just like that family style chain restaurant food, and that's kind of a bubbly to me. And
I
they
get
have a
it.
good flavor profile. Um,
I've been a Lacroix pilled way too hard, and
mhm,
for the longest time, the only seltzer I would drink was Lacroix, and now I'm talking like 3 years.
mhm.
So Polar's only a new thing for me as of like a year ago. So
Okay,
I'm this is
okay.
this is my family style. Unfortunately, it's so hard to find around here.
I am a fan. I am a fan of the seltzer water. But again, it's a video game podcast. Let's
Yeah,
rein it in again to these
forget the
Reddit.
seltzer wars. We're talking about the console wars.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's. That was a ridiculous line of thought. Let's talk about something that makes a lot more sense, such as have you ever had a crush on a video game character? Says this website. There's a lot of questions out of the 50 fun gaming questions that relate to like do you ever want to bang Mario? Like just like there's so many questions that are like
You ever,
that.
you ever want to throw that red hat on the side of the floor and just unbutton
Yeah,
those overalls?
just wahoo, you know what I mean?
Can't
Uh
say I have though. I
there's
really can't say I have.
there are so many questions on here that are just like variations of that. Just like which character is the most attractive character? And it's just like gets a little uncomfortable.
I know plenty of friends who have sort of had that. I'm in a pretty unique situation though, so that's not entirely relevant to me. But I've I I know a couple of friends. Like I know someone who hmm. Now maybe I shouldn't talk about
No, we don't want to
these.
expose. We don't want to expose them. I don't know who this is, but you can tell me later. Actually,
Yeah,
don't, because that's the most annoying thing on a podcast ever. Is like, yeah, tell me after. Tell me after the podcast. We'll
yeah,
actually
yeah.
say the
I'm not
interesting
gonna.
things.
I'm not gonna tell you, the listener.
Yeah, no, don't tell me. Never tell me. I'll be with you, podcast listener. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not gonna tell you then.
yeah,
That's staying in my
perfect.
brain.
All right. I'm just looking at these. Like, would you marry any of these characters? Like, what's like really just like goes through all the stages
What
of a
is it's
relationship.
what's the thing? It's like bang, marry, kill.
Yeah. Spread out through 50 questions. Oh wait, this is my favorite question of all. It's the 50th question. Uh would you give up video games for life and receive $500,000 in cash, or would you refuse the money? Now, before you answer, can we talk about the amount of money being offered in this hypothetical where it could have been anything, but
It
they
could have
chose
been anything.
$500,000 before tax, by the way.
Mm, you know, even with that amount before tax, hang on.
Yeah, no, this is before tax. Yeah, they don't mention that.
Pre-taxed $500,000.
You're
The
getting
gift tax
250
in
at
PA
best.
is like 14% or more. I
Mhm.
think it's more. I think it's almost 20%.
I mean, they don't mention
You're
specifically
getting like
before tax. I'm
375
assuming.
max.
Yeah, you're getting nothing. And just saying, it's like, why would you like if giving up anything for a lifetime? What if something comes out where it's like your grandson is
Yeah.
like, Granddad, play this game with me. And you're like, I'm sorry, my
My hands will
grandson.
turn to sand if I touch a controller.
Don't turn around, little Timmy. What? Oh, it turns into like a pillar of salt and
That's
flows
you know
away.
what? That's your inspirational sad like short video that you make where it's like I accepted the deal and it's like finally like Halo 19 came out and it looks so good and I have to play it, but I know I'll turn to sand and I'm crumbling away as I'm 80 years old turning into sand getting a kill on this guy, and in my last moments when it's just my hand left in a pile of sand I teabag a corpse and then die.
Actually, what we didn't consider is, do you know how they're gamifying a lot of things now? Like apps that like learning app, like Duolingo is gamified
Yeah,
learning.
yeah, or like Venmo is gamifying money transfers.
Yeah. But they're gonna start doing that with like medication and stuff like that. It's like, Grandpa, like play this mini game to get your pills, and he's just like, I've forsaken myself for
Mm.
greed.
Are
I
you talking about
cannot.
you talking about like the chimp test? You ever see that? That Japanese chimpanzee laboratory where they have like a big enclosure and the chimps come and they play like a little touchscreen game and when they win they get like a piece of banana or something.
I think I have. I was gonna chastise you for being on chimp YouTube, but I think I
No, I
actually have seen this video that you're referring to.
I am not a watcher of chimp YouTube because I know what you're talking about. And
Oh
that's
no, I'm not talking about the monkey torture YouTube dark side, which is horrifying and
no,
strange.
this was on a science video. Okay, I would like
Okay.
to clarify this. And it's totally humane because the chimps live in the wild and they come to this facility by choice when they want to play this game for a reward. This is not like it takes the scientists specifically made it take the same amount of time it would take for them to forage food so that they're not getting an easy way. All right, I'm not a chimp YouTuber. I'm not a dark side of YouTube chimp fake animal rescue YouTube watcher.
Now, it's kind of interesting to think that, do you think this is like not a joke? Do you think that like a chimpanzee or like an ape of some kind doing these games, do you think there's different personalities like within gamers? How some people will rage quit things or like
Would
get
would
really
this would
tilted?
this chimp be a rushdown player? Would this chimp be a zoner? Would this
Okay,
chimp
yeah.
be a grappler?
No, no. No, I mean yes, but also like do you think that there is like a chimp that's like playing the game and they just like start banging on it like they get actually like
Yes.
tilted?
Oh yeah, they do. That's a real thing. Some chimps have a propensity to get like really mad and like hit it
Oh,
when
wow.
when they lose.
Basically my teammates in any team game. Let's blame. Let's talk about that real quick.
It's a video
So
game
can we
podcast.
talk about
Well,
can
actually,
we
that
talk
was a
about
video game conversation,
it
but
was, yeah, I don't know why we're transitioning into another video game conversation. Just competitive games in general, because you play a lot of competitive fighting games, and
hmm
I've played a lot of Overwatch sometimes and games like that. And you talked about how they're not fun because it's true. Because they're fun. Like the fun happens when you don't know how to play those games when you're
yep,
starting out. That's every fighting game, and that's kind of how I play fighting games. Is I enjoy it for the 20 hours where I don't know why I'm losing, and I'm like
that's
I'm
a
just having a good time.
that's
And
a
then when
good
I
place to
know
be.
why I'm losing,
Yeah,
then it becomes work, and it's like oof. Uh, but that's all competitive games.
it's very
Now,
much like a hobby more than a game, and it's like a honing thing where you're like, I want to learn why I'm, you know, getting murdered here for no reason and that kind of thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's I've always described it as it's the video game for people who want to like work, I guess, for fun. It's
mhm,
kind of the same reason that I do like my own little like when I play Minecraft. The most fun part of Minecraft for me is the indentured servitude to myself labor, where I'm just digging at a mountain for 30 hours
mhm.
and I'm like, all right, I've completely leveled this mountain. What am I going to do with it? And then I just don't even build on it. I'm just like, I have all this resource. I can do so much and do nothing with it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about like a RuneScape or like an MMO. Like just the sometimes it feels nice. It's that like those games are set up in a way where you get the dopamine hit from doing completing something in your life.
hmm
And you get that like same feeling. However, I would say fighting games, to me at least, almost feels like learning an instrument in a way because
Oh,
you're just
totally.
practicing
I
all the
completely
time.
agree with that.
Yeah, you're going into the practice lab and like just doing different technique, and then
It's
uh,
yeah.
yeah, I guess the way I see it is like, and this is actually, I feel like this is kind of accurate. When I play a fighting game and when I play an instrument, I can practice a lot, right? And it's just fun to just kind of hit things and do whatever and play with friends. I'll play with my friends all the time and jam out or like play a fighting game and have fun. But when you start introducing, it's like, okay, now you need to get really serious and play with random people you don't know. And also, you're hyper tuned in on any mistake you make, and it feels like there's a pressure there. Then it becomes less fun for me. Um, and I don't know, that's just me with fighting games.
Yeah, I've as someone who had only ever played by myself for the longest time, the first time I actually played music with someone um was just it was weird because it was like they were basically just like, okay, you clearly don't know how to play with people. Just do like this, and I'll just improv around it. I'm like, okay, and like that was one time at a convention, and there's a dude with a saxophone who was like actually like an improvisational jazz saxophonist,
hmm
and I was just like, I know how to play one song, like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's my exact experience with instruments too. Is just like playing with someone who knows what they're doing, and I'm like, I learned this song, and they're like, all right. They look at the chart and they like pick it up. They'll learn the entire guitar part of a song, and
mm-hmm.
just by looking at it because they've played enough, whatever. So I'm like, I learned the bass, so I play the bass. I learned the bass part of this song, and they're like, okay, let me just glance at the guitar part. It's like I've learned the whole song. Let's play it, and then they'll like, I'll fill in for when you like mess up or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, but playing instruments with people is fun.
This is a
That-
this is a video game
I
podcast.
know. I was gonna say,
Didn't
let's
know if
bring
you
it
were
back.
aware of that.
Bring it back to video games.
You
This is
want
the
to go
Have You
back?
Ever Played podcast.
Yeah, you want to go back to Red Bull here?
Yeah, give me some
Another
Red Bull
sign that
facts.
Red Bull Jeff Foxworthy would like to say that you're a gamer.
hmm
Number two, you referred to having a birthday as leveling up at least once.
No one's ever done that. No
No one's a
one.
gamer then. Sorry.
I, I will say, I am guilty of saying things from video games in real life
Mm-hmm.
in moments of being like, I think I've referred to an area as the map before, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, have you done that
Yeah.
where it's just like, oh yeah, that map was kind of cool. Like, but it's just, did you mean the amusement park that we just went to? Like, you're like, I've had moments where I've caught myself saying a term like that in
Like
real life.
being inadequate at your job, you're like, I'm underleveled for this.
No, I've
Like-
never done that. Never, no world would you do that. But like when you refer to, I think it's more like location based things
No, I know.
where
Yeah.
you're referring to like a location or something like that. Um,
Just the idea of you like going to your boss, it's like, you've been late 4 days out of the 5 that you've worked and you've done nothing all day. It's like, I'm just underleveled for I'm sorry. Like I like
I'm just under level. Yeah, I gotta go grind.
I gotta go grind real quick. Oh god.
Is that what it is? Is that why I'm always tired? Because I'm under leveled for what I'm doing.
I'm still grinding.
Yeah, you get that like giant like indicator over everyone's head. That's like like, you know how
The
there's like a
skull,
level. It's
yeah.
just a skull. It's a red skull.
Oh god.
Yeah, you look at your office computer. There's a red skull over it. It's like I'm not. I'm doing.
I
Like, chip
can't fight
damage.
this.
I'm doing 1 damage. Like I'm doing
Oh
chip
my
damage.
god.
That's pretty funny.
So number 3, whenever
Yes.
sad gaming moments are mentioned, there's one distinct example that immediately comes to mind. I don't know what
I know which one they're talking about too. I know
they?
exactly which one they're talking about. All right.
Because all right, what do you think they're talking about? Because I don't know this.
Spoiler alerts for Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, there you go.
I
That's all
don't
I
know
need to
this.
say.
I haven't
That's all I
played
need
it.
to say.
I don't
Yeah,
know
they're-
this. I haven't played it.
They're talking about the part where this is spoilers for Final Fantasy VII, where character dies and everyone's like crying because they're like, "Oh my god!" And like that's the number 15 like gaming moments that are scary.
This really is a Watch
sad.
Mojo prompt here.
Yeah, that I mean, I've had emotional moments in video games, especially independent games that are actually like trying to get you to feel a certain way. Like Like an Omori comes to mind for a recent example. Like that game hurts. That's a very emotional game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm thinking games where it's like, yeah, I cried when like Mario, like when Peach got like abducted in Galaxy. It's like there are some moments where it's like, okay, Chief, like
All
this
right.
is weird. But no, there's some moments in gaming. Like I was saying the other day, Kingdom Hearts soundtrack, like the title screen of Kingdom Hearts 2 gets me emotional because it reminds me of childhood nostalgia for the game, and it's like it's already an emotional song, Dearly Beloved, but it's also like it reminds me of like, oh, I remember playing this in the summer and like being a kid and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a personal connection, not the game itself.
I get that. I so it's I have very specific opinions on Pokemon that I'm not going to delve into. Not bad opinions, but I the only Pokemon game I've ever played was the Ruby Sapphire Emerald trilogy or
That's
whatever,
a good
right?
one to play.
Yeah. So that's my indication of that's in my brain. That's what Pokemon is to me, and I played that on my Game Boy when I was, I don't know, however old I was. I don't remember. Um, and I remember the first time I heard. See, I played that so much back then, and then I remember hearing the music from that like a couple years ago, and I was like, I'm almost like kind of tearing up right now. Like this has been so long. Like I haven't heard this forever, and I used to hear this every day for like 3 years straight. But that's really my only connection to Pokemon. But I get what you mean with the whole the
Yeah,
music kind of like. I mean, I'm also very much like a music frischen kind of person, where it's like you can kind of like feel like you feel emotions about music,
yeah, it can tie. I
like
think it's
physical kind
a
of
lot
feelings and stuff.
of nostalgia towards something too. Like I think you're thinking more of the time when which you played the game rather than the game itself. It's like one of those
For
sense
sure.
memory things where
Yeah.
if you smell something that reminds you of something of like your childhood, you're like, oh man, I was taken aback. I did that the other day when I was walking and I was like smelling like fall air, and I'm like, man, I haven't like done fun things in a
Mhm.
while involving going outside and
Yeah.
like trick or treating kind of remind me of just walking down the street.
Mhm.
Stuff like that. Uh, but I guess that kind of takes us into a little bit of the. We're running a little short on time, but I think it takes us into a potential future stream. We might do the Halloween extravaganza stream
Oh yeah.
once again, potentially at some point in October. We might do some gaming, do some watching of old videos, some classic Halloween stuff, which we've
Some
done
old
before.
tube.
Yeah, some old YouTube. So keep your eyes tuned for that. But Ryan, I'm gonna ask you some actual questions from viewers now,
Okay.
and as we wrap this podcast up. So if you have a question you want to send in to the podcast, please email us at hyeppodcast@gmail.com. That is the HYEP podcast@gmail.com. We are the Almost Hype podcast because our acronym falls quite short. It's almost the word hype, but it's kind of a man going yep. No, yeah.
It's you could change it to have you played ever?
Have you played ever podcast?
Have you played
Just
ever video game?
video game. Have you?
Hmm.
Um. Anyway, so we have a question from a loyal viewer of the stream, and this was from the Discord. Cabbage asks, what got you into the weird indie game rabbit hole, and why do you look for them? And that is actually targeted toward me and my itch.io streams. And I think Ryan can also answer this in a way with like certain games that you enjoy. But
I'll
I
concede
think
this to you though. This is a you question.
yeah, I think indie games, especially made by like one person for like a game jam, are more interesting a lot of the times than something really highly polished because they are messy and can be buggy and all that stuff, but you never know what to expect. And I'm a variety person. And I like when I eat food, I like eating like a bento box kind of food and like that style of like or like tapas or something like small plates and all different things. You can have small portions of things and I think with indie games, you can play these wacky games that range all genres, and it's like an hour long experience. And it's just, you can really play a lot of varied stuff. And also, just for content wise on streaming, it's always interesting because you have no idea what's going to happen. And I think it keeps me a lot more interested in playing a game. Now, Ryan, specifically for you, I guess, with indie games, not necessarily like these itch.io games. Maybe we could talk about Flash games or something like that. Have you had experiences where you have games like that?
Uh, you know, the only real experiences I have with some stuff like that is like, I mean, everyone bought that. Well, a lot of people that I know bought that itch bundle. Like they have a couple crazy good bundles that they do, and I have those, and we've kind of looked through those a little bit. Um, but primarily just in like middle school, just playing flash games on the computers there, and I could list probably 30 of them that most people in our exact age group would be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And actually, I there was a Flash game archive program I downloaded recently since Flash died.
Hmm.
There's they don't have a lot of them, but they do have the one that I was specifically looking for. There's which one? I forget. It's like Stick War or Stick Warriors or something. Those
That sounds
Stickman
like that.
games
Yeah.
that everyone played,
Oh,
and it's the one that if the only thing that I can really say to perfectly sum this up is the one that when you like give the order to advance, it's the guy who just goes attack, defend, and he recorded it with his own voice clearly. It's great. He's
man,
just like I gotta have this thing.
I love Flash games, and like just like I used to play them all the time, and that's probably why I like these itch.io games. And I mean, I like to play Roblox, which is the same thing, where it's like variety, Little Big Planet variety, like any game that like allows a user to create a level. I'm more interested in that.
Hmm.
And Flash games were I think I probably played more Flash games than actual games when I was younger because it's free too. It's like you're just playing all these
Yeah,
games.
you don't gotta pay for them, and it's the accessibility factor of being in like I don't know, like doing indoor lunch in like middle school or something,
Yeah.
or not indoor, like classroom lunch kind of thing. I don't know if you
Hmm.
ever did that, but
Oh, everyone's done that. Yeah,
yeah,
like where you get on the computer and you're playing some like cool math game or whatever you're doing.
yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man.
cool math games. That's the one that was unblocked. That one was.
I,
I almost kind of worry that Flash games is a very specific subculture that probably is dead. It's dead. I mean, Flash is dead, but like
okay.
playing internet games like that.
I am so happy to report to you because I actually worked with some kids recently,
Hmm.
and during the break time, we had a break time, and they were middle school aged. During the break time, they all got on the computers, loaded up some Flash games somehow. Still, like even though it's
Really?
dead, they weren't Flash games. They were probably HTML5 games, but they were playing a game that was like Worms, basically,
Uh huh.
like it, but a Flash game. And I'm like, I'm
That's
people are still doing it.
that
There's
warms
it's
my
still
heart to
alive.
hear. It
It
really
does,
does.
right?
Because it's like iPhones and iPads and all that stuff exists, and it's like mobile gaming is like crazy good now. So you wouldn't think that it would be like that because I like when I was in school, my phone was like a slide phone that just had a keyboard. It was like that's it. Like
Yeah.
I could text on it. That's it.
I'm glad to see that the tradition is still alive.
I'm so happy to hear that.
All right, now this is a question from Harm, a person who's on my Discord, who's a moderator in my chat as well, who asked, "What are your thoughts on ROM hacks, fan games, and other non-official spin-off materials that expand on a work's story? Is it all right for for the projects in that space that choose to do so, have some sort of monetization for their work?" And when does an IP or genre stop being content that is made? Sorry, stops being the content that made it popular, so that projects seen can be separate from the source or hit material. There's actually a couple questions within here. We should probably break it down.
I get the gist of it though. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
Um,
question.
I think that fan games spin-offs. I think the best route for that is to make it your own story and make your own characters that are legally distinct, but like you can tell that it's like Like it's Jario, not Mario. Because if you're gonna
Yeah.
make a game, especially if it's Nintendo or something, if you're gonna make a fan game, expect it to get taken down, and like you can't really monetize it. Um, I think you're always safer making your own thing, but it's heavily using the same mechanics and everything.
Oh, totally. I almost think this is a question like worthy of like an entire episode or something, or at least a lengthy discussion.
Yeah,
But to keep this in just question format, like I don't really have a lot of experience with a lot of these types of things. You know about Mugen though?
yeah,
Yeah, that's probably the thing that I think of the most, and that is just universally beloved for being absolutely ridiculous.
yeah. You should probably explain to people who don't know what
Mugen
Mugen
is
is.
it's this like open source fighting game engine thing that you can import any real character from a fighting game into or make your own characters and just pit them against each other with zero balancing. It's just like, hey, like Dwayne. Dwayne is that, dancing Dwayne. He's just a big old hitbox. He just
Yeah,
moves at you. There's nothing you
notably,
can do.
notably salty bet on Twitch, which is CPUs
I
fighting
love
each
salty
other, where
bet.
you can bet on them. Uses Mugen,
And it's
Mugen.
like ridiculous stuff. It's like Dio from what's that? The Dreamcast JoJo's game versus like a Toho character or something, or like oh, it's Sentinel from Marvel 2, and he's fighting Violent Ken from Street Fighter
Oh yeah,
Ultra. Like
Angie Ken.
yeah,
Yeah. It is very entertaining to watch. Playing, on the other hand, is
oh, it's terrible. It's
yeah,
chaotic. It
no,
doesn't
it
even.
doesn't work.
It's yeah.
But what were you gonna say in terms of that, like the existence of that in the ROM hacks world? I guess not ROM hacks, but
I mean, I don't. I don't know. That was kind of more saying that that's my only real experience with something like that, and I don't think there's much to say about that other than that it exists because it's not like it's infringing on anyone's property. I mean, I guess it's infringing on everyone's property having these characters, but like it's kind of like who's really to make the claim against it? I don't understand. I don't see any reason for anyone to say anything other than this is a cool thing that exists.
yeah,
Like there's no infringement whatsoever.
and I think also because it's not like a story, it's just you're importing characters into the game,
It's
whatever.
just a big sandbox, basically.
Um, I think harm is specifically pointing to games. I'm assuming talking about games such as like there's a Mother 4, like there's an Earthbound game, like there's a
Or like,
new game
yeah,
being
like those
made.
those custom Pokemon games, or like
Yeah.
like Mario 8, that kind of thing.
Well, there is a Mother 4 game which is like a new it's like they're doing their own story that's like supposed to be whatever. They honestly, and this usually is what happens a lot, is something that'll start as a fan project. Uh, Another game, Anton Blast and Anton Ball, which is like a Wario Land 4 style game.
Hmm.
They're doing their own thing. It
Yeah,
clearly is inspired and takes a lot of uh elements from a game, but it's its own thing. I think that's always the safer and honestly, I think more creative way of going about things. I will say something like a Bloodstained. Do you know Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, the
I
Castlevania
know of
thing?
it. I have not played it. I know a lot of people are very into it.
Yeah, but do you know how like there's Metroidvania games, right? Um which are the Castlevania Metroid style games. Now, those games, it's nice to have the Castlevania aesthetic. You're fighting Dracula. I love all the characters. And Bloodstained is like made by the director, like
Hmm.
Igarashi or whatever. And it feels like the same game, but the fact that the characters are different, you're not really fighting Dracula, and like the villains are a little bit different. It does take away a little bit from it. Like sometimes like a game like that, like a fan game or like a spiritual successor, it feels almost like the thing you like, but like the characters being slightly different does feel weird.
Yeah,
Um
you kind of have to. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm speaking from hypothetical here. I haven't really played many of these games, but I just I feel like you'd kind of have to remove your association with that other game to be like, oh, this is the thing that I like, but it's a completely different property and like works differently, and I have to learn to like this in a different way.
Actually, here's kind of a good example where in Pokemon, there's a lot of monster catching games now that exist
Hmm.
in that genre, but they're clearly Pokemon inspired. Um, there's a game called Koromon or Koromon on Steam, which is very like Pokemon inspired, and also Temtem, which is like another Pokemon kind of game. The thing about those games that are so weird is like, yeah, they have better features in every single way, except the Pokemon design. It's like it's not Pokemon though. It feels like you're playing with like
Like knockoff Pokemon.
knockoff Pokemon. Like it feels weird, right? It still feels that's something that just is odd. That's like hard to like describe. Um, but yeah, I think if you're gonna make a fan game, probably make your own. You make it. You can literally have the gameplay be exactly the same. Just try to do your own thing with characters and stuff. Keep it so you can sell it eventually if you want to make a full game.
Keep it
And
legally distinct.
and that's I think that's the message of the podcast. Keep it legally distinct. And I think
Not
that was a
keep it
podcast.
100. Just stay legally distinct, everyone.
Yeah. All right. So I've been Matt Fondude. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, now on TikTok for the kiddos. Um, I'm also on YouTube. I stream lots of fun games. And Ryan, where can we find you?
Just on Twitter. See, I'm legally obligated to have it, so I don't use
Where,
any other social media. I wouldn't use Twitter if I didn't have to.
and what's
Uh,
your at?
just Polkabird with an underscore at the end.
Mhm.
Gotta keep those
So
those underscores legally
we can
distinct.
direct all our hate towards you and the allegations, bringing it back to the allegations
Yes,
again. Well, we know you know what you did, and we know what you did, and that's all I'm going to say
and
about
I know
that.
what I did. I mean, you just said that, but I know that you know that I know what I did.
And that's the end of the podcast. Goodbye.